Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome, welcome. First of all, happy spring. Happy International Women's History Month and happy Global Women Peace Network Forum. We welcome you from around the world. I just heard that we have participants from Canada, from Portugal, from France, from Africa, Uganda, and from the United States, of course, and Spain. And really from around the world. So thank you, women leaders coming together and women of all backgrounds. We're so grateful that we have this third session of the Global Women Peace Network entitled Women's Leadership in Reconciliation and Peacemaking. And today's title is The Next Generation. My name is Angelica Sully. I'm the president of Women's Federation USA. I'm again your host this time. And I just want to say, you know, if you are a woman, then please celebrate yourself right now, if you haven't done it so, because in the month of Women's History, where we celebrate women, we honor and recognize and uplift all the contributions that women have made throughout history and for humanity. Would you not agree? So a round of applause for all women in the world, those before us, those with us, and for those who come after us. So it's a beautiful day here in Maryland where I am. The sun is shining. We want to bring hope. That's the purpose of this seminar. We seek to bring hope. We seek to bring vision and also practical tools for women and men to navigate through these difficult times that we find ourselves in. So when our committee was planning this forum for today, we felt it was quite apropos to actually turn to the next generation of young women to find out how they feel, how they contribute to peace and to a better environment. And so we interviewed a few of them, and the ladies you will see today are amazing. I just want to tell you that right now. We have amazing women leaders coming in today, so I look forward to that. And so before I go into introducing them, I'd like to share a little bit more about the Global Women Peace Network. We've heard that name many times, but today I want to go a little deeper and just say, for me, first of all, it is a network of the heart, network of women organizations coming together. First of all, it is a project of the Women's Federation for World Peace International. And it was launched in 2012 by Dr. Hakja Moon and her late husband, Reverend Dr. Sanmyung Moon, to bring together NGOs, decision makers, institutions, government, to collaborate in using their resources, converging their resources to create a better future for us all. So it is Women's Federation itself has been launched into 1992. It's been 29 years old next month. Amazing. And it was launched and founded for the arrival, to announce the arrival of the era of women. And we do feel women are needed now more than ever to bring solutions to the table, right? So the three areas of impact that we are having is number one, women's leadership. And we feel that in a peace culture that we're trying to establish, we need a new type of leadership paradigm, a paradigm where masculine and feminine on equal footing work together, harmonize, and enhance each other's strengths, providing a place for the next generation to grow up in security and support. Number two, we also support family. We see the family as the most fundamental and natural unit in society. It's a place where a husband and a wife are sharing their life, love, and core values, where culture is transmitted, and tools that are necessary for good citizenship and for this new culture of peace that we're working on. And number three, the environment, of course. The earth is our home. It belongs to humanity collectively. It needs to be treated with respect and with awe, and cultivated and shared with the intention to enhance and develop and protect the next generation. Of course, that includes our spiritual environment, which is quite toxic at this time. We find ourselves in crazy, disturbing times still. So we hope that this seminar, this webinar, can be an uplift, can be an oasis in the wilderness, if you will, as you hear good ideas coming forward. And we will also have a moment to share today. We'll have a few new components that we're surprising you with. So stay tuned. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce now our very first speaker. Her name is Mrs. Elizabeth Yang. Mrs. Yang is the owner and founder of the Law and Mediation Offices of Elizabeth Yang, has over a decade of legal experiences, and is recognized by Thomson Reuters as a super lawyer. Her firm specializes in family law, business law, intellectual property, and estate planning, and has offices in Southern California and Taipei. At the age of 19, she earned the bachelor's in science in electrical engineering and computer science from UC Berkeley in 2.5 years. She then earned the ID MBA from the University of La Verne, as well as her mediation certification with the Los Angeles County Bar Association. And get this, Elizabeth is a best-selling author and has published 5 books to date. Amazing. This is worth a celebration, ladies. Let's give her a round of applause. She's, to me, I just met her, by the way. She is a woman of passion, of focus, and she gets stuff done. So here we go. Elizabeth, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Angelica. It's such a pleasure to be here with all of you fabulous, amazing women celebrating Women's History Month. First of all, I wanted to do a special thank you to Chu Fan and her daughter, Angie, for inviting me to speak today to all of you. They've been amazing. I met up with them a couple of weeks ago, and so glad for this opportunity. So I wanted to start off by sharing a little bit of my background before I get into like the subject matter of today's talk. So I am a mom. I have 2 children. My daughter is turning 12 next month. My son is 10. And I started my own business about 10 years ago, because when I had my kids, I was working for a large law firm at that time. And I don't know if you guys know about big law culture. They treat their associate attorneys like slaves. You're working 80 hours a week, aiming to build 2,000 hours a year, and you basically have no life whatsoever. So I was like done with that after I had my first child, because I was not seeing my daughter. I was going to work early in the morning, going home late at night. My nanny was basically raising my daughter for me. And so I was like, something's got to change. And that's why I came out and decided to open my own business, because that would offer me the flexibility to have a career and also be a mother at the same time. Women, we're devoted to our families, to our children. Like they're just so important to us. It's difficult for us to put career first above, everything else. And so in order for us to have a career and have children, family, we got to learn to figure out a way to balance everything. And so I felt like having my own business really allowed me to do that. But there's a lot of other ways to do so as well. And I saw like the big partners, the big female partners at the law firm I was working for, they would wait until their late 30s, sometimes early 40s to have children, because they wanted to make sure their career was secure first before jumping into family. Because it was like everyone knew, like, if you started to have a family, you're not going to go up in your career. The partners are not going to promote you to partner, because they know that your heart's going to be somewhere else. And so folks were not having families until, they were a lot older, and then they would have a lot of complications with their pregnancies, have a lot of health issues, and then the babies would have issues too. So, it's a big balance, and I acknowledge all of you women for balancing work and life and family and career and everything that we do. It's a tough balancing act. How many of you guys are mothers here? Oh my gosh, almost everybody. And a lot of to-be mothers as well. I know Angie is a to-be mother to be. So you know what I'm talking about. You know how difficult it is to balance everything. And so coming from that background, I wanted to share with you guys the topic of emotional intelligence and how that's helped me in my background and my career. Has anyone taken like transformational trainings? Raise your hand if you're familiar with transformational trainings or emotional intelligence. Okay, just a couple hands. All right. So I'll share with you. In 2010, when my kids were pretty young, they were 1 and 2, I found out that my ex-husband was cheating on me. And so I filed for divorce. And back then, I was an intellectual property attorney. I did not specialize in family law yet. I had never filed a divorce ever in my life for any client. And so I started my ordeal filing the divorce. And I didn't know at the time, but my divorce ended up taking 4 years. It was 4 years of lots of court hearings, constant battles in court, lots of expensive attorney bills. And, even at the 4 year mark, we still couldn't finalize our case because we just had so much negative energy towards each other and so much anger, and we were just fighting for child custody, fighting for child support, whatever we could fight over, we were fighting over. And so at that time in 2014, I was introduced to emotional intelligence training. And at that time, I had gone through college, I had gotten my bachelor's, I had gone through law school, I had gone through MBA, like all this education, but nowhere in my years of education did any system teach me about emotional intelligence. They would teach me about math, science, history, English, law, all the academic topics, but there was no education on active communication, on conflict resolution, on how to make a marriage work, how to make a relationship work, how to let go of a bad relationship, how to handle bad children, children who won't listen to you, how to resolve conflicts in with your husband, with your spouse. Like all these things were never taught to us in schools. And so even with all my years of education, I had no idea what to do with my ex-husband in a relationship where we were literally trying to kill each other in court, and we had 2 kids together. So we were just stuck. And so many people are stuck too, educated, uneducated, women, men, like they get stuck in these situations. But after I went through this emotional intelligence training, which is offered around the world. I took it with a center in Los Angeles called Mastery and Transformational Trainings, but there's a lot of other centers out there. And so these trainings taught me all this emotional EQ stuff that I wish would have been taught in the public school systems. So from that, I learned the difference between being a victim and taking responsibility. I learned that energy flows where your focus goes. Write that down. Energy flows where your focus goes. All right. So if something's negative and happening in your life, if you put your energy there because you want to be right, because you want to win, because you want to get justice, or whatever your reason is, that negative energy is going to perpetrate your entire life. And you're just going to be bitter and negative no matter what you're doing. You're going to be complaining to your friends about this negative thing that's happening. And that energy is just going to flow in your whole life because that's where your focus goes. And so after I took my training, I texted my ex-husband and I was like, can we sit down and have lunch together? I know it's your birthday coming up next month. Let me take you out for a birthday lunch. And he was like shocked getting my text because I had not wished him a happy birthday in 4 years. And so it took him 3 whole days to respond to me. And finally, after 3 days, he was like, okay, I'm going to have lunch with you. I don't know what you're up to, but I'll have lunch with you. So we sat down for lunch and I told him like, look, I've learned that it doesn't serve me to be a victim anymore and to make you the bad person. So, I can keep making you the bad person, keep giving you my power and keep being your victim and keep being right about it. Or I can take responsibility for my part in this whole relationship. Nobody forced me to walk down the wedding aisle with you. Nobody forced me to marry you and have 2 children with you. Those are my choices. I chose you, and I get to claim my results and take responsibility. And going forward, after I'm able to take that responsibility, I can choose what kind of relationship we have going forward. You know, that comes into my power. And I choose that I want to have a loving, respectful, understanding relationship with you going forward for the sake of our children. I don't want to fight anymore. And he listened. He was like, you know, that sounds pretty nice, but don't blame me if I have a hard time believing the words that are coming out of your mouth, because we have been going to court for 4 years. And I said, it's okay. You don't have to believe me. You know, my actions will speak louder than words. And so in the next 6 months, all my actions and intentions were positive. You know, I focused my energy on positivity. If he wanted the kids for a weekend that wasn't convenient for me, I'll still let him, you know, I'll help him out. You know, if he's not able to take care of the kids and he wants to give them to me, I'll help him out. It's okay. You know, like I just went above and beyond to create this positive, loving relationship. And fast forward 7 years later, we still have an amazing friendship. You know, I just, with those little bits of lesson learned, we've been able to maintain that. I'm like great friends with his girlfriend now. He gets along with my husband. We have play dates for the kids. And it's like an amazing, loving, extended relationship that my children get to grow up in because of my willingness to take responsibility and to alter my actions and my interpretations. You know, he didn't have to change anything on his end. It was all me. You know, and taking these lessons going forward, you guys can apply that in anything. You know, I had a business partner before, and I found out he was embezzling money as well. Instead of, I could have taken him to court, filed a lawsuit for breach of fiduciary duty. I could have probably claimed a lot of money back that he was owing, but I chose to just let it go and not focus my energy on negativity. Focus my energy on positively building my own business, on recreating and, you know, doing the positive work for myself. And in turn, I think my business is so successful right now because I didn't devote my time to suing him into that negative energy. So I welcome you guys, you know, whatever challenge you're going through in your life at this moment, pick and choose. There's a positive option that you can take, and there's a negative option that you can take. And with the negative option, there's definitely payoffs. There's going to be, you know, you can say, I'm right. You can say, I'm getting justice, you know, like that person deserves it. How can I just let it go? You know, you can be right about it and choose the negative option. There's definitely payoffs. That's why people keep choosing the negative option. But now you know you have a choice. You can choose the positive option and believe in karma, because karma goes there. What goes around comes around. If you forgive someone and you let something go, another door is going to open for you. And then if that person gets a freebie from you, you know, took advantage of you, it's going to come around and bite them in the butt. You know, you don't need to be the one to get revenge. Karma will take care of the job for you. So I don't know how I am doing on time.
Yeah, it's
time. Okay.
Yeah,
I can talk for like hours and hours, but that's just my 10-minute spiel. I hope that was helpful for you guys, and happy Women's History Month.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. It was awesome. Profound words and wisdom shared, universal, I would say. Choose your fights. Pick if you want to do positive or negative, right? What do you want to engage in? Where energy flows, that's where you. What did you say? Energy flows where your
energy
focus,
flows, right? Where your focus goes.
Where your focus goes. Energy flows where your focus goes, ladies. Remember
so
that.
Focus on the positive.
Focus on the positive. Thank you so much. Very wise words for peace building indeed. So our next speaker is Ms. Hanelin Colvin. Ms. Hanelin Colvin is a poet and spoken word artist who features regularly in venues from Baltimore to New York. She tackles the complex issues of love, sex, race, and cultural bigotry through her lyrical poetry and powerfully spoken word. She has won praise for her performances as an actress. Here we have an actress here with us on the community theater scenes for such roles as Phoebe in the show Months on End and Cassie Cooper in the show Rumors. Hanelin is also a conservative political activist. She served as the media and communications director for the Eugene Bolkai's city council campaign in 2020, and currently appears as a co-host of Pop and Politics, a weekly Baltimore-based talk show for the smart edge urban conservatives. So we really welcome another amazingly accomplished woman who makes an impact with her gifts and talents. Go ahead, Ms. Colvin, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much. Can everybody hear me okay with my headset? So doing this little makeshift room in my office the middle of the day, but we're we're making it work. So thank you so much for inviting me. It's an honor to be able to speak from my heart to everybody. I'm going to just focus on what some of my experiences have been, being able to use poetry as a way of building bridges and connecting and really building human connection with people across different avenues and walks of life and different cultural backgrounds, which I think is so important today, given how many contentious issues there are right now, especially surrounding racial divisions in the country. So for the past 20 years, I've been performing poetry from Baltimore up to New York. I kind of cut my teeth in the New York scene, the New York spoken word scene. There was an interview that James Baldwin, great Black American writer, that he gave back in the 1960s, and it just, when I heard it, it really struck me, and it has stayed with me, and it resonates. And I think that it's something that has been such a powerful part of what I have attempted to do through my poetry, and it illustrates the power in connecting human to human through our shared experiences. So he said, you can go through your life for a very long time and you think no one has ever suffered the way that I've suffered. My God, my God. And then you realize, you read something or you hear something, and you realize that your suffering does not isolate you. Your suffering is your bridge, that many people have suffered before you, many people are suffering around you, and always will. And all you can do is bring, hopefully, a little light into that suffering, enough light so that the person who is suffering can begin to comprehend his suffering and begin to live with it and begin to change it. So poetry is a very powerful avenue for channeling these deep emotions. And it's a way that we can forge these connections between people who maybe we look and we see people coming from different backgrounds and different experiences, and we think there's no way to bridge these divides. And that we are so, the message that's really being pushed, I think, today in mainstream culture and in politics is that this divide is insurmountable, that we cannot bridge it, that we are so different across different races or cultures or ethnicities or between the sexes that we cannot bridge this divide. And my experience through poetry has been that poetry is really, it is a place where people are often the most vulnerable, and they are sharing of themselves and they're sharing their personal experiences, and often from a very deep place of hurt and from pain, and they're just laying themselves open. It's a way that you can cut through all of the external differences and the external factors, and you really begin to see people just on a human level for who they are. And oftentimes through that experience of suffering, because you can realize that I may not have suffered the way that this other person has suffered, but we have both suffered. And so I can use that as the basis, as the foundation to be able to have empathy and to see this other person as a fellow human being, as a brother, as a sister in God, and that there is more that connects us and more that unites us than divides us. So when I moved up to New York when I was 19, and like I said, I got very involved in the spoken word poetry scene. It was predominantly, I was performing in predominantly Black venues. It was it was a profound experience because I was able to expand my own perspective and to learn more profoundly about experiences that were being shared from Black Americans, learning about just more deeply about the history, the racial wounds and the tensions that still exist today from this kind of legacy of our racist past in America, and understanding how it was still resonating with people today. My late husband who's passed away was a Black man, so we were in an interracial relationship, and I was able to use my poetry to explore the dynamics of that, what it meant in terms of combining our lineage, what it would mean for our children if we had the opportunity to have children who would be coming from these two different cultural and racial backgrounds. And the experiences that I was having grown up, in a predominantly white neighborhood, community, schools, and was being confronted with, or having my eyes open to things that I wasn't aware of just because of my own personal experiences, but through joining my personhood with his through our union, that where now we were coming together as one, that I was able to see things from a different perspective, or see things from his perspective, or see, comments that were being made, reactions from Black people and white people to our relationship, and that were really eye-opening. And so through poetry, through being able to explore those experiences that I was having, it was a way to really try to express and build these relationships, like I said, across these ultimately superficial surface differences, and to really see how connected ultimately we all are. There is I think that being able to connect in that way very deeply, to be able to share those personal stories, the personal pain, to be able to experience through poetry. Oftentimes you can say things that maybe people would have a hard time hearing if you were just coming at them with facts or logic. There's something that's very transformative about tapping into that essence of a person, tapping into their heart and their spirit and the emotion. The caveat to that is that also comes from a very feminine place. The emotion is, there is something that is archetypically feminine about our emotions, and that can be both positive and negative. There's a very positive force to emotion, which is what can connect us, the power of that emotion, giving, using the emotion to give life to these experiences and to connect with each other. It goes back to the idea of emotions, the feminine divine being kind of represented by the waters of the deep. There's always this, in mythology, this language of the feminine being both like the waters of the womb that give birth, but it can also be the waters of chaos that consume you and can drown you. So there is a caveat to being stuck in a place of emotion that with poetry can be very seductive almost. The one thing that I had noticed recently is that on the poetry scene, and what we're seeing in our discussions culturally and politically, is that a lot of people are getting stuck in the negative aspect, the negative emotions, and the emotions of grievance and the emotions of grief. And instead of using that as a place to be able to build from and to work through and to bridge, to use that suffering as a bridge between people, my worry is that what's happening now is too often people are using it as a chasm in order to divide. And so I think that going forward, we as women have to be very conscious of the fact that we're not getting trapped in a cycle of negative emotions, but that we're not getting stuck in, like Elizabeth mentioned, a cycle of perpetual victimhood, but that we're able to use the suffering that people have experienced, use our personal suffering, use our collective suffering, use the suffering that different groups, groups in this country who have suffered from discrimination and oppression, use that experience of suffering, but as a way towards healing and a way towards reconciliation. And like James Baldwin said, a way of recognizing that suffering is at the same time personal and intimate, but at the same time universal. And that's the way that through art, through truth, through the power of poetry, the power of emotion, that we can begin to see each other as fully human and be able to use that suffering through the transformative power of art in order to bring about peace and healing.
Amazing, amazing. Hanelin, you gave us so much to think about. I cannot even repeat. I was touched with so many points. But what I see, first of all, both ladies, first of all, thank you. You both have gone through a lot in your age already, right? You've gone through so many difficult situations, and you were able to tackle them in different ways. Through the emotion code is one, and through your realization through the word and the common suffering, which we're all going through right now. And I think it's kind of like a rebirth, isn't it? If we do it if we go through it well, and we come out on the other end better. Just a couple comments to each of you before we open it up for question and answer. So this is from Marie to Hanelin. A lot of people forgive and forget, but they don't face it. Very important. Thank you for this wonderful testimony about talking to your husband and challenging him to work together. Wait a minute, was that for Elizabeth? I think it was for Elizabeth. Here's another one. Elizabeth, your story and experiences you've shared with us is so empowering. Love the fact that you focus on positivity that gives energy. And I think we both spoke about emotions. And who addresses emotions? Not the men, right? The women, as the other half of humanity, we are dealing with emotions all the time, and then we are able to transform them. I think a lot more comments will be coming through because you just ended your amazing presentation, Hanelin. But here's a question. Question number one from Katerina. How do you, Elizabeth, now create an environment in your law firm for women to be able to healthily balance work and family? You have any comments on that?
That's a great question. So I've actually created this formula for my employees where they get to choose their own salary based on how many hours they want to work. So they get to choose their own work-life balance. For big law, the salaries are all set and the hours are all set. You know, like first years out of law school, you make 190,000 and you have to build 2150 hours. For second year, it's another amount. You know, it's all public information. If you Google big law salary, you'll see a chart with the fixed amounts. So what I do is I make it proportional. If you want to work half of the hours, you get half of the salary. If you want to work 70% of the hours, you get 70% of the salary. So every employee gets to choose their own work-life balance.
Awesome. This should be adapted nationally, shouldn't it? You ladies are blazing the trail. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's great because that empowers women to be able to choose what they want, because I think there's a lot of pressure being put on women that we're supposed to compete in the workplace the way that a man would. And sometimes women just want to make a different choice and to be able to have that freedom to choose differently.
Absolutely. So there was another question to you, Elizabeth. How do you bring the knowledge of emotional intelligence in your job as you advise your clients?
I actually pay for my employees to go through the emotional intelligence training. So I know how much it's benefited me. And so all my employees, they go through the training and they don't have to pay a penny. The firm pays for everything. And then even some of my clients who I've shared the story with, you know, my story, I was sharing in the chat that they can go through a difficult divorce, spend all their money on the attorneys, or they can learn from my mistakes and settle their case, focus on positivity. And many of my clients have also gone through emotional intelligence training because of, they want to follow my footsteps and create the positivity that I've been able to create.
That is great. Instead of complaining about your employees, you help them.
Of course, yes. Yes, it's the getting is in the giving. We can only earn so much and do so much for ourselves. Life is about giving and contribution.
Wonderful, wonderful. So to you, Hanelin, did you experience and witness positive changes in your family environment as a result of your poetry? And further, several ladies requested a taste of your poetry, if you could add that in.
Sure, certainly. Let's see, yes, there have been times when, well, I came from a family of artists. My dad was a poet. My dad was very influential in my development as an artist, because I used to go with him when I was a child to open mics. And so that was my first taste of really performing. So it really, the poetry and art had always been such a fundamental, essential part of our household and of growing up. And it really was a way that we were able to, like, that we always knew was a way of expressing emotion. So it just kind of continued to develop. My dad used to say that I would start going to the open mics as a child with him, and I was known as Alex's daughter. And then when I started to make my mark on the scene, he would go to open mics and he was known as Hanelin's father. So the roles reversed. But yeah, so there just had always been this appreciation for art as a way of uniting people. My dad also, he passed away a year and a half ago, and there was such an outpouring of love and support and supportive messages from people who had been so touched by his art, by his songs, by his music, by his poetry, that I think that was something that already, it wasn't something I brought to the family. It was something that I learned from my dad, that there's a way of really touching people. And again, my dad was, like the Taoist principle of flowing like water from the highest to the lowest. My dad would go everywhere and talk with everyone. And he just always would find a way of relating to people just on a artistic level. And he was able to do that very often through his music and through his poetry. So that was just something that I learned that from my father.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Yeah, so we can influence emotions that way too, right? We can go to the emotion code, but we can also use words. Would you share with us a few? Do you have some available? Some of excerpt, a couple of lines, just to get a feel for it?
Oh, sure. So I have a poem. I wrote it for a female friend of mine. So it's a poem celebrating women. It's short.
Appropriate. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
This actually was my go-to poem whenever I would be invited to feature at events in March for Women's History Month. This was my Women's History Month poem.
All right. Right on.
It's called Blessing. And I had written it and dedicated it to a friend of mine who was going through a difficult period, and she was so anxious for things to work out and so impatient for things to work out. And I was telling her from my experience, she was saying, like, I see where you are in your life and your relationship, and things are so good and I want to be there. And I said, but you understand, you have to go through the journey. I didn't start at this point. I went through a journey. So you have to allow the journey to unfold. So this is called Blessing. Be patient, sister. Your blessing is coming. Wait for it, like summer waits for snow, like desert waits for rain. Be patient, sister, it is coming. As surely as redemption, as fiercely as fire, feel it in each fertile breath you take, taste it in each memory of future you are meant to make. Exhale all your fears into the flames and let them burn, for as fire burns, it cleanses, and as it cleanses, it restores. So as we store our sorrows in the flames, we release them into the ashes to be reborn. We mourn no more, long to linger in the past no longer, for the future burns before our eyes with the satisfaction of a deferred dream realized. Be patient, sister, your blessing is near. Don't you know that God counts a woman's tears, replaces each one with holy water so that every step you take is blessed, makes miracles out of misery and stress, bakes bread to feed your soul out of the yeast of your prayers and the heat of your determination. Woman, you hold the womb of the world in the palms of your hands, rub your palms together and birth nations. Just be patient. Your
Oh my goodness. Woo, ladies. We want to publish that if we may.
Oh, sure. I could email you the text of it so that you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is powerful. Thank you so much. You can see your talent and gift. Just how you recite it is just it's music. It's art. It really is art. Yeah, I do want to correct myself, by the way, Elizabeth. I'm sorry. I said emotion code, but it's emotional intelligence that you're working with, right? And I also want to make a comment. I think we come to the end of our Q&A. You know, you both have taken ownership, what we call it. You are proactive. You're not succumbing to situations and challenges and pain and suffering. You know, you lost your husband and your husband left you. You know, you found a way, you know, to make lemonade out of lemons. That's the word. And stay positive, right? There's so many wonderful comments still. We don't have time to read them all. But would you be open to make a closing statement? And I know there's so much more. Ladies on the call and gentlemen, this was a feast for me, and I hope for you too, in terms of getting sustenance here, words, inspiration, guidance for our lives, right? So we navigate through these difficult times. And the ladies agreed to stay available for further questions, and they will make their emails available, right? So yeah, Elizabeth, would you make a closing statement, please?
Well, it's been so nice to, talk to all of you. You guys were so active and engaging and participating. This is my first interaction with the Global Peace Network. So just really, really awesome to be here. And I invite you all, Hanelin and I, we are paying it forward by giving our time here. So for all of you, if each of you go out and pay it forward in any small token that you can, do something nice for someone, smile at a stranger on the street today, the ripple effect is amazing. So I invite all of you to just pay it forward in celebration of Women's History Month today.
Beautiful, beautiful. Bravo, ladies. Elizabeth, it was awesome to have you. And now, Hanelin, your final comments.
So I just want to thank you again, and thank you to everybody, and for all of your kind responses to the poem. And you can find the poem on my website. Somebody pointed out in the comments at hanelin.com. That poem actually is up there. Please check out Pop and Politics. You can find it on Facebook or YouTube on Metro Conservative Media. And we have a panel of 5 women, and we have very lively, energetic discussions every Wednesday night. So I think that's it's another way that I've been working through a different avenue to try to bring about peace and unity and harmony. And I think there's a great energy among all of these women. We come from, again, different backgrounds, different races, and different histories. And the way that we're all able to, again, to just see each other, to find that there's more that unites us than divides us, and really just to be mindful of using, your personal experiences, the emotion and the sorrow that we all go through, not as something to get mired in, but something to be able to use as a transformative power towards healing. The muse, the 9 muses in Greek Roman mythology, they were the daughters of memory. And so, our art is a way of memorializing. It is a way of memorializing a time, an event, a place, a person, but we also have to keep moving forward. So, the muse can be an inspiration, but the muse can also keep you, when you muse on something, when you are, thinking, pondering, when you are ruminating, you can get stuck in that place. So just to try to continue as we're moving forward, as women, trying to bring, unite people through world peace, to use the muse as an inspiration and to keep moving forward in a spirit of peace and unity and love.
That sounds excellent. It's all recorded, by the way, ladies. You can hear those beautiful comments again. And I want to repeat that life is about giving and contribution, right? That was mentioned. You don't want to forget those keywords that are kind of resonating in many different ways. That's the beauty of this panel. You're very, very different, but yet the message is very similar, isn't it? So thank you again, wonderful, powerful young women leaders. We wish you well in your careers, wherever it may take you. And so thank you. And now to our audience, we have a surprise for you. And that is we will see a video clip of another artist, a young woman who makes a difference in her own way for peace. And it's a Korean artist. Her name is Miss Ji-Young Park. Park. She cannot be here with us today, but she created this video for this occasion. So a brief word about her. Ji-Young Park is an LA-based calligrapher. She has exhibited and performed in various cities in Europe, North America, and Korea, and produced works for a variety of clients, including the YG Entertainment, Deutsche Börse Group, Mercedes-Benz, among many others. So ladies, let's enjoy this video, which she prepared for you.
Hi, my name is Ji-Young Park. I'm a calligrapher based in LA, and I'm really excited to be part of this wonderful event organized by the Women's Federation for World Peace, which is one of the most active NGOs listed in the UN. Yeah, I just wanted to tell you that I truly believe that women, especially the younger generation, has so much to give to restore human values. And I hope you'll be able to feel it through this video.
Angie. Wow. Do you feel a different energy around the younger generation? Amazing, very creative, very powerful. As this young lady is restoring human values in her own way, making people smile, giving meaning and joy back to the people. So thank you, Miss Park. So moving on, we have another surprise here today for you. We are actually having breakout session for 10 minutes. We're going to give you the opportunity to share with each other and to discuss a topic related to Women's History Month. And we'll have 2 questions for you to answer. And there's no one leading the discussion, so feel free to share with each other, get to know each other. The first question is, what did you take away from the session that inspired you in your current leadership role or wanting to be a leader? Because we believe every woman is a leader in some way, right? How does it apply to your life? Number 1. Number 2, what struck you that could help younger women? So the first one is, what did you take away from the session for yourself as a woman leader or woman leader to be? And how do you apply it? And then second, what struck you most what struck you that could help younger women. Welcome back, ladies. Oh my goodness, what a rich discussion. I hope you had one too. It was amazing. Just lady speakers, I want to say how appreciated you are. Comments were made like, you know, for Elizabeth, that she has the heart of a mother. You should be the teacher of all lawyers, okay? Things like that. And that both of the ladies have given us so many tools to transform ourselves and also give hope to the next generation, because we worked from the inside out. Just to summarize a little bit of my own breakout, and we had one lady from Canada and from the LA. I felt very much enriched. I just hope that you will continue the conversation, please, because this is only the beginning, right? If we continue to bring it up in our lives and talk with our families like that, I think we can get the ball rolling in a greater nation and the world. Right? We have to move on. But you know what? I'm determined to bring each and every one of these ladies back to a webinar or something. They have so much more to share. And now we have time we're going to have a special announcement on our initiative called Global Friends. And I will call on our outreach director, Kiyomi Schmidt, who is also behind the scenes, who will share more about that. Before then, we'll watch another video, 2 minutes. Let's see it.
Okay, hello everybody. So we just watched a video and about the Global Friends, and I'm going to pull up a few additional slides as well. So here we have a flyer here. You can see becoming a global friend, and all the organizations that were featured in the video are committed to different aspects of peace. So we have those who are serving countries and those in need. We focus on cultural understanding. There's several organizations on strengthening family and marital relationships, investing in our youth. There's also organizations on unlocking our own potential and deepening our sense of purpose through spirituality and so much more. So this is our way to highlight different organizations that believe peace is important. And hopefully, to all those who are watching, it'll give you an extra little bit of confidence to check them out and go and support these organizations. So those who are a global friend, let's see, agree to various peace tenets, including several of the topics that we've been weaving into today's program, such as affirming women's value and having peace and prosperity for generations to come. We're talking about uplifting that next generation as peace leaders. And if you do have an organization and you would like to apply, there are several benefits included. And some of those include promotion alongside Global Women's Peace Network programming, such as this event today. And also, as you saw, you would have a customized landing page about your work on our Women's Federation for World Peace website as well. So, to those who would like to find out more and also to apply, we have our website link here, wfwp.us/global friends. That's where you can find out more. And don't worry, we'll email this out to you after the program as well, so you can take a closer look. And thank you so much. Back to you, Angelica.
Oh, yes. Hi. Thank you. Thank you, Kiyomi. Well done, ladies. Kiyomi was the creator of most of this, just to mention that. We have amazing young talents here with us. So thank you very much. And the next thing is we do want to really highlight and honor our founder this month, Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon, who is called the Mother of Peace, and who is definitely one of the great women peace leaders of our time. There's no question about it. And as always, we introduce her memoirs they were recently published about a year ago, and became bestseller in Korea. And so today, I'm so thrilled to actually introduce a young woman leader who will be giving reflections on the memoirs that are called Mother of Peace, and God Shall Wipe Away all their tears. Her name is Mrs. Diane Heck. And just a brief word about her. I'm going to read it here. Diane is 23 and a registered nurse student at Mount St. Mary School of Nursing. She worked as a youth and young adult minister for 3 years and as a youth pastor for 2 years. Currently, she is a sub-regional coordinator for a youth and young adult organization called Yeyem, works as a nursing assistant, and recently started her own business with her husband. How about that? She's very passionate about the healthcare field with the goal of becoming a DNP, starting her own medical practice, and opening a school where health is well taught, especially to women, and where God's word can be incorporated. That's beautiful. Diane also plans to open a nursing home in the US and eventually other countries. She has big plans and big vision. Let us welcome Diane Heck. Welcome, Diane. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yes, I do have big plans. I hope that God will lead me to them. But yeah, so I was called to at least share this book, what I learned from it. Yeah, let me just say, without Mother Moon, we wouldn't be here today, because she is the reason why we're here. The reason why we started, right, Women's Federation. I think as a young woman, there's a lot that I learned from this book, you know, Mother of Peace. But one thing that I learned is that the biggest thing is to know who you are. That's powerful. I think Mother Moon, in her book, everything that she has done in her life, you know, and all the suffering that she's been through, and she was patient, and she really came closer to God because she knew who she was, right? And that's really powerful. I think her power comes from her ability to know who she is as God's daughter. And I think that's why I look up to her. It's that one thing of looking at myself and just, you know, it's just hard to explain, but I really feel God's power when I look at her. And have you ever felt like sometimes when I hear Mother Moon speaking, or, you know, even see her in, like, you know, videos, or I just have so much power and comfort and warmth and love, you know, that just comes into my heart. And it's like a mother. I guess that's why she's called Mother of Peace, because she's a mother. And that's what I feel every time I hear her, every time I read her book, and just her story is filled with tears, with sorrow. But again, at the end of the day, that one power of knowing who she was, you know, as God's daughter, that's what led her here. And that's why she even, you know, started this whole Women's Federation. It's because of, she turned her passion into her purpose. And that's also one thing she actually talks about in her book, how she was able to turn her love for humankind, you know, she turned it into a purpose. Like that was her drive, because she wanted to change the world, and she wanted to become someone who can embrace all humankind. And I want to become like her.
All right.
You know, that one, you know, it's I had the chance to one time I met her, and I was very close to her, and as she was praying, I couldn't stop shedding tears. It's amazing. You know, it's amazing because it's not just about the book, it's not just about what she says, but it's about how she says it, and her heart of how she's saying it, or where it's coming from, you know, because many times we can have, you know, you can have a lot of people talk about God, and talk about their story. But I think with Mother Moon and this book of Mother of Peace, it's not just about the words that she's saying, but it's where it's coming from in her heart, her deep heart for humanity and for all of us here. And yeah, I just, there's a lot to share about her, but
yeah, it's all
as
right.
a young, there's a lot to share. There's a lot to share because I really look up to Mother Moon. I really feel that I am the woman that I am today because of her. And I learned by reading her story, her biography, you know, and I finally understood that I'm God's daughter. And because of that, I have so much power. And that's not just because of myself. That's because I learned from her, and I learned from her book and her history and what she's, you know, she went through. And that's why I think this is related to the poem that I think I forgot her name, was
Hanelin.
Yeah, Hanelin shared about being patient as well. I think patience is also a powerful gift that we as women have been given by God, you know, being patient. And I think with also Mother Moon in her book, you know, sharing that she always shared that no matter the circumstances, no matter what painful situation she was going through, she was patient because she knew the blessing will come. And she knew that, you know, this light, she will finally see this light. And yeah, I just wanted to read something, just, you know, from this, and just to conclude this, because I don't want it to be long. When I talk about Mother Moon, I talk for too
I know
long.
it's hard to stop, right?
But I will read this.
Right.
It's
Share
just
with
very
us.
short.
Sure.
So this is it's a short message, and she talks about a mother's hand soothes a stomach ache. And she says, "Mummy, mummy, my stomach hurts." When a child complains of stomach ache, his mother lays him on her lap and rubs his tummy without a single word. Her hands may be gnarled and rough, but in a few moments the child feels better. This may be a simple approach, but it is the practice based on love. We all dimly remember our mother's warm touch. This is the very touch with which I long to embrace all of humankind as a mother of the universe and a mother of peace. As we know from our own experience, a mother hears her child's cry very clearly, and she has no thought but to quickly run to her child. This is because a mother's love and attention are directed solely towards her children. A mother will walk through a fiery pit without hesitation to save her child.
Beautiful.
And oh man, okay, I'm gonna cry.
We have to move on, Diane.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, that's I just wanted to share that. Please just read her story, and I think it will make it makes a difference in our personal life, and I think it can bring a lot of changes if we learn from her. So yeah, thank you.
That was awesome. People said you will be a great woman leader. You already are. Bravo. And thank you for opening the window to the book by reading this very, very special quote in the Mother's Heart. I just want to make a comment. You know, when Diane said the Women's Federation was founded by her, that tells you something about the founder and the the gist of where we're going, where we come from a place of deep spirituality, yet social action and embrace of a mother's heart. That is the hallmark of the Women's Federation for World Peace. And it's also expressed in the Global Women Peace Network, which we are expanding to the world. So thank you again, Diane. It was profound. I know there's more, sorry. But maybe it is a good introduction to our memoir giveaway moment here, because that happens every single time. We're going to give away 3 free books. Okay, you want to get one. And we will ask you to put hashtag in the chat box, drum roll, okay? And just to mention, this only applies to women in North America, not beyond, I'm sorry. But anyone here is qualified to apply and to be part of the competition. So you put hashtag, Peace starts with me, go. Peace starts with me. Okay, do we have some winners? This is Mother Moon's memoir. It's chock full of wisdom, of life wisdom that is really rarely found elsewhere. I have to say that myself. And so anyway, we will contact the winners via email. You'll get the book. And then we hope if you have already a book, share it with someone else. And so my dear, wonderful ladies and gentlemen, who are supporting us today, being with us, I think it was one of the richest sessions we've ever had. Would you not say that, right? This is a great round of applause for the next generation of rising women leaders right here with us and also behind us. Before I introduce them, I just want to say we'll meet again next month, April 14th, probably talking about the health and healing will be the next topic. And so without further ado, and don't go away yet, we're going to have a group picture, okay? But before then, I'd like to reveal to you who is behind the scenes, our amazing staff. Can they please come forth? And also our speakers one more time. Let us highlight our amazing speakers, all of them. Can you wave your hands, the speakers and our staff? Especially we have Angie with the red sweater there. She was on the video of the Korean young artist. She's our National Global Women Peace Network assistant. We have Guillaume Schmidt, our outreach director, the blue, excellent job. And also we have our great panelists one more time. Miss Elizabeth Young, where are you? Waving, there she is. The mother of future lawyers, guidance for peace. And Miss Hanelin Colvin, a great transformer of lives through her art of the word. The word is art. So ladies, thank you very much again. I do want to mention Diane one more time. Thank you for coming on and for sharing with us the heart behind it all, the mother of peace. So ladies, that's it. And let's have a great, great month ahead. Happy Easter. Happy not Hanukkah, what is it? Passover. Or whatever else you're celebrating. Most of all, celebrate your beautiful, God-given, divine femininity. It's in all of you. You're all beautiful. We're all divine daughters of God. We can shine. Let your light shine. May that have been an inspiration and an impetus to really go out and share your talents with the world. Don't be shy, okay? Just do it. So with that being said, thank you for all those who joined us, and have a wonderful rest of the week.
Thank you so much.
Bye.